The reason I'm very disappointed with Sinn Féin Provost, and I use the word Provost because Sinn Féin split, and of course you have a smaller organisation called Sinn Féin, Republican Sinn Féin, and while they wouldn't be anywhere as strong, nonetheless we've got to be careful when you use the term Sinn Féin. The Sinn Féin Republican would be, although I'm not a member, and I will quantify things at the moment by saying I'm a member of no political organisation. I'm an independent Republican. I like to think I'm fair-minded, and I try to be fair to all the groups across the board, north and south. But increasingly I'm getting disenchanted with the Provost, because number one, I was a member of the Provost from 1950, well, not the Provost, but from the Republican movement, because the Provost were a different period in the development of the Republican movement in 1969. But I've been in the Republican cause since 1957 in all sections, and I've served on the hard collar of Sinn Féin's down the years. Coming up to the first direct elections, I think they were 1980 actually, that the Democratic left within Europe got together with a representative from each country, a representative organisation from each country, to debate what is this new Europe they're trying to develop away from the European Common Market. What is these plans about a parliament now, and where's the whole thing going? I was accepted as the representative of Sinn Féin from Ireland to speak for Ireland. We'd support each other on joint understandings. One of the understandings would be on the rights of workers, the rights of minorities, even the rights of immigrants, as long as the immigrants weren't taking over and actually undermining a people, because there was still a lot of refugees in Europe at the time from the, even believe it or not, from the Spanish Civil War, some of the older people, you know. And but a totally different, a Europe of the peoples, where each one recognised the other, big or small, but with an equal right and an equal basis. And we had women's rights. Now, on the women's rights, of course, the women everywhere have been fighting for instance, for what they call equality, okay, 100% correct, nothing wrong with that. But I said, within that broad front of people that's called Sinn Féin, there are people with different views. And because of our traditional history in Ireland, particularly as the majority would adhere to the Catholic faith as such, abortion is a very, very, very forbidden and dangerous subject to get into, because you would destroy your base. And this was in late 1978 going to 79, because we only had a short while into the election, the first elections. And so I go back with this document, and I have initials that one of the things we all agreed with was that there would be open, free abortion, gratuite, paid for. It would be like bringing home a landmine. I said, Sinn Féin wouldn't accept it, and if they did accept it, I said, you can imagine if even words slipped out of the meeting that we were debating it, to even consider could we sign this document in its entirety. That the English newspapers and the neo-colonial Southern Irish newspapers would pick this up, and there'd be headlines saying, the provost for abortion.
Yeah.
I said, our safe houses around the border, across the border, the people who repair armaments and provide them, the people in America, our supporters for dollars. I said, the ordinary householders that put up our guerrillas when they're on the run or from escaping or anything, the doors would be closed. I said, we would actually do England's job and destroy our own freedom struggle. I cannot and will not sign it. But they said, comrade, the agreement is it's all or none. Well, I said I have to get an addendum to it. There was war. No, we've been meeting for 3 years. We must sign today. This is the agreement. Well, I said I can't. I can agree to everything else, not that abortion issue. And that was written in the document that Sinn Féin has been given this one out of all the 16 countries, this or 90, whatever number of countries were there at the time. We were the only one who had this exemption. But as far as nobody at the time wagged a finger at me, and I think that Jerry Adams, for instance, and others of the northern leadership later were actually coming on the Ardcola at that time, and Ardcola was delighted. So there seemed to be a complete reverse on the whole abortion issue, which I find distinctly wrong. I think it's wrong. I do know that Sinn Féin, and I have it in my bag there. In 1981, they brought out a document from the Women's Department, which was about the best study done in Ireland at the time on abortion or the need for abortion. And they gave figures, facts, as far as they could, what backgrounds the women came from what areas, how many went to England, so many years. Oh, really detailed stuff. But the conclusion of the Women's Department of Sinn Féin Provost, 1981, was that Sinn Féin would be totally opposed to abortion, that it was a further exploitation of women, and that if care, education and care and proper medical looking after and financial support to women in that kind of a position was the solution, which of course it was and is. How they've gone now to open unrestricted abortion, I do not know, but I have to say that they don't represent me and I don't stand for it. As regards the European platform, for reasons it would take too long for me to go into here, but it certainly are very, very important historical reasons. I'll just say that unfortunately the Republican movement Sinn Féin decided at the ultimate last moment before the first direct elections to the European Parliament not to contest, whereas the decision, and it's in no history book, but I'm telling you and putting it on history because I was there and I know, the decision was to contest. And Rory O'Brady would have been one of the candidates. Now, Rory is dead since. A lot of this is very hard for me to prove, but I'm telling you it's a fact. Because it was not considered a partition parliament. In other words, Rory would not agree to Leinster House, Stormont or Westminster. But he took the argument that this new opening in Brussels to the world, where you are going to get the press corps, which is very, very, very powerful in Brussels. You were going to get an office. If anyone elected, I'm talking about, you were going to get all these financial support, and you were going to be able to use the Parlement in Brussels to get the word out all around Europe and to the world what exactly was going on in Ireland, what the British were at. Yeah. It was a golden opportunity, and it was going into constitutional politics and hopefully would bring about a situation where it would be so dramatic in the political sense that these so-called terrorists are now in the European Parliament. Yeah. And I do believe we would have had 2 seats at the time. I think we probably were almost lost the freedom struggle at that stage. I think it was a major error by those who forced the last minute change against it, short-sighted and everything. And if you look at today, they have MEPs elected, and instead of trying to get Ireland out of the EU, which was Sinn Féin policy right up until recently, because they have these elected seats, I think they have a bigger representation than any other political party within Ireland. Yeah. Now that they've got seats, there's no talk about getting out of Europe at all. So to me, that is a complete somersault. The whole thing on the abortion is a somersault. And there is no way that I can go with that, and I know that it's contrary to everything that was agreed and worked on and signed for by the Republican movement within Ireland. And I certainly don't represent me in it, and I would be for Ireland. And when I say Ireland, I'm talking about the 26 counties, but I'm also allowing the 6 counties, that Ireland should get out of the present, I stress the word the present, EU. It should look to go back to a cooperation between nation states in Europe on an economic basis of markets, which were supposed to be, and that there would be in cooperation benefits for everybody, but not as a power block with an unelected elite, which is another form of dictatorship. And I'm horrified that pro Sinn Féin are coalescing with this injustice at all. I think it's a great shame, and I just hope that they will wake up and get back to reality, and because Ireland needs reality now more than it ever did.